A life cut short, my mother's story. My mother was a force of nature. She was a loving parent, a dedicated teacher, and a pillar of our community. She was the heart of our family, the one person we could always rely on. But our world shattered when we lost her, to a preventable tragedy. She was looking forward to getting back to her life. I never imagined that the place meant to heal would become the place where I would have to say goodbye. The call came on a day that will forever be etched in my memory. My mother was gone. I knew something was wrong, and I immediately requested an autopsy. As the fog of grief cleared, a chilling realization emerged. This was no ordinary medical mishap. This was something far more sinister. Between the financial elder fraud and negligence of my brother, her own son, and the negligence of her doctor, a fatal error. The overdose. The truth, as it often does, emerged slowly, painfully. My mother had been given too many medications, and her son removed the nurse my mother needed to help monitor her medications, and thus, a fatal overdose, just as my brother planned and hoped had happened. A simple check by my mother's nurse could have prevented this tragedy, and the monster she knew as her son knew this. But those responsible for her care failed her in the most fundamental way. The nursing home, a place that promised healing, had become a place of harm. The faces of doctors now reflected a chilling indifference. They spoke in hushed tones, their words evading my questions, their eyes betraying a dark secret. The evidence was irrefutable, a series of errors, a cascade of negligence that led to my mother's unnecessary death. The medical records, once a testament to her health, now documented her demise, each page a damning indictment of a system that had failed her. Walls of silence, the hospital's cover-up. What followed was a conspiracy of silence, a concerted effort to conceal the truth, to protect the institution at the expense of justice for my mother. The hospital's response was a masterclass in evasion and obfuscation. They offered condolences without accepting responsibility, apologies without acknowledging guilt. Documents vanished, records were altered, and witnesses clammed up, their silence bought with intimidation, manipulation, and deception, even from the lawyers that protected the hospital. The system, we quickly learned, was designed to protect its own, to shield those in power from the consequences of their actions. The more we dug, the more we uncovered a pattern of negligence, a culture of complacency that treated patients like commodities, not human beings. A family's fight for justice. My grief was compounded by a burning rage, a fierce determination to expose the truth and hold those responsible accountable. I refused to let my mother's death be swept under the rug, just another statistic in a system rife with preventable errors. I will continue to fight back, armed with the truth and fueled by an unwavering belief in justice. I have contacted lawyers, journalists, anyone who would listen, and will continue to do so. And that next step and source is here. I have faced roadblocks at every turn, stonewalled by bureaucracy, intimidated by legal threats, and ignored by those who could make a difference. But I refuse to be silenced. I owed it to my mother, to her memory. I will not be silenced by Rochester, New York, their hospital, their autopsy department, and not even my own brother, who made her a financial victim of elder fraud and abuse, and focused more on her banks and money rather than the care of my mother. My fight is not just about seeking justice, but about demanding accountability from a system that had failed obviously and miserably and being covered up. Rochester, New York is corrupt, and I am here to show and tell it all.